I want to talk to you about something crucial, something that could determine whether your retirement is comfortable or filled with constant anxiety. At 94 years old, I've lived through 15 recessions, countless market crashes, inflation cycles, interest rate shocks, and every economic mistake governments can make. I've seen people do everything right and still lose their financial security because they were unprepared for what came next. As we move toward 2026, I'm seeing warning signs that look uncomfortably familiar. The kind of signs that appear before major financial stress. The good news is this. If you're already retired or nearing retirement, there are specific investments that can protect what you've built while still providing dependable income. These are not flashy investments. They won't make you rich overnight, but they offer something far more valuable: protection, stability, and peace of mind for the next 20 or 30 years of your life. Today, I'm going to show you exactly what retirees should own before 2026, why these investments matter more now than at any point in the last decade, and how to position your portfolio so you're prepared for whatever economic scenario lies ahead. The window to act is closing. The time to prepare is now, while you still have choices. Before I reveal the 5 investments, you need to understand why 2026 is such a critical deadline. We are at a rare crossroads in economic history. Several forces are converging at once, and together they will reshape the investment landscape. First, interest rates are at levels we haven't seen in over 15 years, but they are unstable. The Federal Reserve is walking a tightrope between inflation and recession. When eye makers are trapped like this, mistakes are almost inevitable. Second, the baby boomer retirement wave is accelerating. Roughly 8,000 people retire every single day. That means more people withdrawing from the markets than contributing. This selling pressure will only increase through 2026. Third, government debt has exploded to levels that will force hard choices. Either inflation will be allowed to erode the value of that debt, or taxes will rise sharply. Either outcome is dangerous for retirees living on fixed or semi-fixed incomes. I learned early in my career that the best time to prepare for a crisis is before it arrives. In 2006, I started shifting towards safer assets because I saw the housing bubble inflating. Most people thought I was being overly cautious. By 2008, they understood. I see similar warning signs today. The adjustments I'm making in my own portfolio are the same ones I recommend to retirees. The first investment every retiree should own before 2026 is Treasury Inflation Protected Securities, or TIPS. TIPS are government bonds designed to protect your purchasing power. When inflation rises, the principal value of TIPS increases. When inflation falls, the principal adjusts downward, but never below your original investment. Your interest payments rise along with the principal. Traditional bonds are vulnerable to inflation. If you earn 4%, but inflation runs at 5%, you're losing purchasing power every year. TIPS prevent that erosion. I learned the importance of inflation protection the hard way. In the 1970s, inflation destroyed the retirement plans of people who did everything right. They saved diligently, bought government bonds, and believed they were safe. But when inflation reached double-digit levels, their fixed income became almost worthless in real terms. I promised myself I would never allow inflation to silently destroy my wealth again. For retirees, I recommend allocating 20% to 30% of your bond portfolio to TIPS. You can buy EM directly from the government or through mutual funds and ETFs. The key is to ladder maturities so money becomes available at regular intervals. One caution: inflation adjustments are taxable in the year they occur, even though you don't receive the cash until maturity. That's why TIPS are best held in tax-advantaged retirement accounts. The second investment retirees should own is dividend aristocrat stocks. These are companies that have increased their dividends every year for at least 25 consecutive years. They include businesses people rely on regardless of economic conditions. Companies that sell essentials, not luxuries. Dividend-paying companies offer 3 critical benefits. First, inflation protection. These businesses can raise prices, which allows them to raise dividends over time. Second, recession resilience. People continue buying toothpaste, medicine, and groceries whether the economy is booming or collapsing. Third, discipline. A company that raises dividends year after year is managed conservatively and generates reliable cash flow. Dividend policy tells you more about management than any earnings report ever could. For retirees, I recommend allocating 30% to 40% of your stock portfolio to dividend aristocrats. You can buy individual stocks or use an ETF for diversification. Reinvest dividends while you're working. In retirement, use them as a growing income stream. This rising income is what allows retirees to maintain their lifestyle as prices increase over time. The third investment retirees must own is short-term treasury bills. These are T-buy. LLS with maturities of 3 to 12 months. They serve 4 critical purposes. First, safety. They are backed by the full faith and credit of the U.S. government. Second, liquidity. Your money is never locked up for long. Third, competitive yields. Short-term rates are currently far better than they were just a few years ago. Fourth, and most important, optionality. T-bills give you flexibility. If markets crash or interest rates spike, you have cash becoming available regularly that you can deploy when opportunities appear. This dry powder has been one of my most powerful tools throughout my career. In 2008, I was able to make exceptional investments because I had cash while others were desperate for liquidity. I recommend keeping 15% to 25% of your portfolio in short-term T-bills, laddered so money becomes available every month or two. This allocation functions as your emergency fund, opportunity fund, and sleep-at-night money. The fourth investment is controversial but essential: immediate fixed annuities. Most annuities deserve their bad reputation. They are complex, expensive, and designed to benefit salespeople. Immediate fixed annuities are different. They solve one problem nothing else can: longevity risk. An immediate fixed annuity converts a lump sum into guaranteed monthly income for the rest of your life. If you live to 100, you keep getting paid. If markets crash, you keep getting paid. The greatest financial risk retirees face isn't market volatility. It's living longer than their money. At around age 70 to 75, I recommend using 20% to 30% of retirement E&T savings to purchase an immediate fixed annuity that covers essential living expenses. Housing, food, healthcare, and utilities should be funded by guaranteed income sources like Social Security and annuities. Everything else comes from your investment portfolio. This creates a financial floor below which you cannot fall. Only buy from highly rated insurance companies. Avoid commission-based salespeople, and never annuitize all your assets. You still need liquidity and growth. The fifth investment retirees should own before 2026 is utility and consumer staple stocks. These are the most boring businesses in the market, and that's exactly why they work. People need electricity, water, food, and household products in every economy. These companies have steady demand, pricing power, able dividends, and lower volatility during market downturns. Utilities are often regulated monopolies. Consumer staples have powerful brands. Both provide income you can depend on. For retirees, I recommend allocating 20% to 30% of your stock portfolio to these sectors, either through individual stocks or ETFs. Now let me show you how this fits together. A well-constructed retiree portfolio balances safety, income growth, inflation protection, and liquidity. Bonds provide stability. Stocks provide growth and rising income. Annuities provide certainty. T-bills provide flexibility. The goal in retirement is no longer maximizing returns, it's avoiding catastrophic loss while generating dependable income. As we approach 2026, interest rates, valuations, policy changes, and demographics are all shifting. Once a crisis hits, choices disappear. Preparation gives you control. I'll leave you with the principle that has guided me for nearly a century. In retirement, excitement is the enemy of security. You don't need to beat the market, you need to outlast it. Own assets that protect your purchasing power, generate income that grows, maintain liquidity, eliminate the risk of outliving your money. If you do that, you'll gain something far more valuable than returns. You'll gain peace of mind, and that is the real measure of a successful retirement. As I look back over 94 years of investing, one truth stands above all others. Wealth is built by patience, but it is destroyed by neglect and overconfidence. Retirement is not the time to experiment. It is the time to protect. The 5 investments I've shared with you are not designed to impress your friends or generate exciting headlines. They are designed to do something far more important, to keep you financially independent for the rest of your life. They protect you from inflation, market crash, policy mistakes, and the one risk no one likes to talk about, living longer than expected. I've watched too many intelligent, hardworking people reach their 60s and 70s with a lifetime of savings, only to lose their security by chasing returns they didn't need and taking risks they couldn't afford. Don't make that mistake. The goal in retirement is not to win the market, it's to survive it comfortably. If you act before 2026, you still have control. You can lock in income, secure today's interest rates, and build a portfolio that works whether markets rise, fall, or go nowhere for years. Once uncertainty turns into crisis, choices disappear and decisions become force. Prepare while you still have options. Build a portfolio that lets you sleep at night. Protect what you spent decades earning. And most importantly, give yourself the freedom to enjoy retirement without constantly worrying about money. That peace of mind, knowing you're prepared for whatever comes next, is the greatest return any investment can ever deliver.